So we'll look at an example of a cylinder in terms of its lateral surface area and its total surface area. So again, we're doing the same thing. We're finding the LSA and the TSA. In this case, we're going to look at a cylinder. So when you're actually dealing with your shape, we are looking at a cylinder, which means we want to pick our common face or our base shape. So a cylinder is considered in sort of the prism realm. So if you look at the common base, we have a circle along the bottom, and then throughout the entire height of the prism, we have that same shape happening. On the other side, we have the same shape of the circle. So again, we're dealing with our prism. Our units are both in inches, so we don't need to do any conversions. So same steps as we've been following along before. So you want to look at your base shape, find your perimeter, find your area, and then we can apply those into our surface area formulas. So I'm going to look at this shape and just bring it into its two-dimensional realm. So I'm going to look at the base shape, which would be a circle along the bottom. So we have our circle, and it says that the diameter all the way across is 22 inches. So our diameter is 22 inches. So if you want to do your calculation for radius right away, that might be a good option. So if we take diameter and we cut it in half, our radius would actually be 11 inches. And then we can find our perimeter and find our area formulas from there. So you might remember what the perimeter area formulas are for a circle. So those are common ones we use. But if you don't, we can always go back to our reference sheet and find out what those are. So for a circle, remember the fancy name for perimeter of a circle is circumference. So it's either 2 pi times r or pi d. And then area of a circle, again, you have two options really. So pi r squared or pi times diameter squared divided by 2. Again, it really just depends on what you want to use. Whether it's radius or whether it's diameter. So we have calculated both, so we can either use any of these options. So I'm going to go 2 pi r, and then area is pi r squared. So I'm going to use my radius formulas. So perimeter is equivalent to circumference, which is 2 pi times r, or pi times diameter. So that's 2 pi, and my radius in this case is 11. So when I plug that into my calculator, I end up getting 69.115038, etc., and this is in inches. So again, you should keep as many, sorry, that's 69, not 61. So you should keep as many decimal places as possible when you're using these in later calculations. Again, sort of thinking about not losing that integrity until you round at the very end. Area of a circle is pi r squared. That's the one that I'm going to apply. So pi, and then our radius is 11 squared. So again, please check with me on your calculator. I use the pi button on my calculator to make sure that I don't lose that integrity. Some people use the 3.14, but I'd recommend that you use all of your decimal places until the very end. So I end up getting 380.132711, etc., inches squared. And then we can apply that into our regular formulas. So LSA, remember, for a prism is perimeter times the height of your prism, and total surface area is LSA plus 2 times your area. But you'll notice on your reference sheet, if you do actually go into the cylinder part, it does give you manipulated formulas that actually put in your radius associated with it. So it just takes that idea and substitutes it in. So I'm going to show you that you could actually, instead of doing perimeter, instead of doing that off to the side, you can actually combine it all together. So you could put in 2 pi r for your perimeter, and then multiply it by the height of your prism right in the formula. Similar for LSA, or sorry, for TSA, you could do your LSA formula, so 2 pi r times height plus 2 times your area, which would be pi r squared. And this is a little bit easier to do if so not losing decimal places along the way. So you can do it either way, substitute in the ones that we did over here, or you can do it all in one go. So whichever way that you want to do it. So perimeter, we calculated that to be 69.115, etc., multiplied by the height or length of our prism. So that's where our three-dimensional shape now is coming into play, so 24 inches. So when you do that multiplication, I end up getting approximately 1,658.76, just to 2 decimal places, inches squared. Similarly for our TSA, I'm going to just use the numbers that we've done calculations with already, so 1,658.76 plus 2 times my area, which I found to be 380.13, etc. Again, try to use as many decimal places as possible until the very end when you can round at that point. So I ended up getting 2,419.025, etc., which I'm going to round to 2 decimal places to get 2,419.03 inches squared.